you've learned how to introduce yourself in Russian. You know how to say your name, your age, where you're from. But in a real conversation, people usually want to know a little more about you. Are you married? Do you have children? Where does your family live? What do your children do? Do your parents live nearby? So today, I'll show you how to talk about your family in Russian. I'll teach you the phrases that you can actually use in a real, everyday conversation. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to say something like this. У меня большая семья. У меня есть муж и двое детей, сын и дочь. Моему сыну 12 лет, а дочери 8. Мой муж работает инженером. Мои родители живут в другом городе, но мы часто видимся. That's already a little pretty natural story about your family. Let's build it step by step. And by the way, hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Anna. I'll be your guide into the world of the Russian language. Let's start with probably the most useful structure of this lesson. У меня есть. I have. Literally in Russian it means something like to me there is. Or at me there is. So, у меня есть семья. I have a family. У меня есть муж. I have a husband. У меня есть жена. I have a wife. У меня есть дети. I have children. У меня есть сын. I have a son. У меня есть дочь. I have a daughter. And you can combine these phrases. У меня есть муж и двое детей. I have a husband and 2 children. Or у меня есть жена и сын. I have a wife and a son. This one structure already allows you to say a lot. Let's learn the most useful words. Муж, husband, жена, wife, сын, son, дочь, daughter, дети, children. If you have 2 children, Russian has a very useful form. Двое детей. 2 children. So, for example, у меня двое детей. I have 2 children. Or you can also say, у меня сын и дочь. I have a son and a daughter. Or, у меня 2 сына. I have 2 sons. Or, у меня 2 дочери. I have 2 daughters. But you don't have to memorize everything right now. The most useful phrases are у меня есть дети. У меня двое детей. У меня сын и дочь. Russian uses different words depending on whether you are a man or a woman. A man says, я женат. I am married. A woman says, я замужем. I am married. But of course, you can also simply say у меня есть муж or у меня есть жена. And if you are not married, я не женат for a man, я не замужем for a woman. Now let's say your family members' names. For a man, его зовут. His name is. For a woman, ее зовут. Her name is. For example, моего мужа зовут Алексей. Его зовут Алексей. Мою жену зовут Анна. Ее зовут Анна. Моего сына зовут Максим. Его зовут Максим. Мою дочь зовут София. Ее зовут София. These forms, моего, мою, его, ее, come from the Russian case system. But in this lesson, don't worry too much about analyzing every ending. You can simply learn the pattern. Моего мужа или сына зовут. Его зовут. For men and boys. Мою жену или дочь зовут. Ее зовут. For women and girls. This is one of the most natural things people ask when talk about family. In Russian, we don't say, my son is 12 years old. We say, моему сыну 12 лет. Literally, it's something closer to my son 12 years. So, моему сыну 12 лет. My son is 12. Моей дочери 8 лет. My daughter is 8. If you're talking about both children, моим детям 12 и 8 лет. And if someone asks, сколько лет твоему сыну? How old is your son? You can simply answer, ему 12. If someone asks, сколько лет твоей дочери? You can simply answer, ей 8. She's 8. Now let's make the description more interesting. For your husband or wife, мой муж работает инженером. My husband works as an engineer. Моя жена работает врачом. My wife works as a doctor. Or, мой муж работает в банке. My husband works at a bank. Моя жена работает в школе. My wife works in a school. For children, мой сын ходит в школу. My son goes to school. Моя дочь учится в университете. My daughter studies at university. For younger children, мои дети ходят в детский сад. My children go to kindergarten. And now we already have a much more natural description. У меня есть муж и двое детей. Мой муж работает инженером. Сын ходит в школу, а дочь в детский сад. Now let's look at one small but important piece of grammar. English uses the word my. Russian changes it according to the noun. For masculine nouns, use мой. Мой муж, my husband. Мой сын, my son. Мой брат, my brother. For feminine nouns, use моя. Моя жена, my wife. Моя дочь, my daughter. Моя мама, my mom. And for plural, use мои. Мои дети, my children. Мои родители, my parents. So, это мой муж. Это моя жена. Это мои дети. You don't need a huge table here. Just мой for masculine. Моя for feminine. Мои for plural. Of course, when adults talk about family, they can talk about their parents as well. Мама, mom. Папа, dad. Родители, parents. For example, мои родители живут в Москве. My parents live in Moscow. Мои родители живут в другом городе. My parents live in another city. Моя мама живет рядом. My mother lives nearby. Мой папа живет далеко. My father lives far away. And there is another very natural phrase. Мы часто видимся or мы не часто видимся. So we can say, мои родители живут недалеко от нас, и мы часто видимся. My parents live not far from us, and we see each other often. Or, мои родители живут далеко, поэтому мы видимся нечасто. My parents live far away, so we don't see each other very often. Now let's add siblings. Брат, brother. Сестра, sister. Старший брат, older brother. Младший брат, younger brother. Старшая сестра, older sister. Младшая сестра, younger sister. Note that in Russian, we don't have a gender-neutral word such as a sibling. You always indicate if it's a brother or a sister. So you can say, у меня есть старший брат. I have an older brother. У меня есть младшая сестра. I have a younger sister. And if you don't have a brother or sister, у меня нет брата, у меня нет сестры. Or у меня нет братьев или сестер. Notice that есть брат, but нет брата. Есть сестра, but нет сестры. The form changes because Russian uses the genitive case after нет. If you want the full explanation, I've got a very good video on the Russian genitive case. For now, it will be enough if you just remember the complete phrases. Now let's take a look at the most common questions. У тебя есть дети? Do you have children? Сколько у тебя детей? How many children do you have? Сколько им лет? How old are they? Как зовут твоего сына? What's your son's name? Как зовут твою дочь? What's your daughter's name? Где живут твои родители? Where do your parents live? У тебя есть братья или сестры? Do you have brothers or sisters? And if it is appropriate, you can also ask, ты женат? Are you married? Or ты замужем? Are you married but for a woman? Talking about family doesn't always mean talking about children, especially if you don't have them. You can say, я живу с мужем. I live with my husband. Я живу с женой. I live with my wife. Я живу один. I live alone. That's for men. Or я живу одна. I live alone. That's for women. Or you can say, у меня небольшая семья. I have a small family. У меня есть муж и родители. I have a husband and parents. And you can adapt these phrases to your actual life situation. Now let's put everything together. Imagine someone asks you, расскажи о своей семье. Tell me about your family. You could say, у меня большая семья. I have a big family. У меня есть муж и двое детей, сын и дочь. I have a husband and two children, a son and a daughter. Моего мужа зовут Алексей. Он работает инженером. My husband's name is Alexei. He works as an engineer. Моему сыну 12 лет, а дочери 8. My son is 12 and my daughter is 8. Они ходят в школу. They go to school. Мои родители живут в другом городе, но мы часто видимся. My parents live in another city, but we see each other often. Еще у меня есть младшая сестра. I also have a younger sister. Ее зовут Alina. Her name is Alina. That's already a completely normal description of your family in Russian. And notice how many useful things you've already used. The construction у меня есть. Age, names, possessive words, family vocabulary, and even several Russian cases. But you didn't need to stop and analyze every ending of every noun. You were just talking about your family. So to sum up, if you really want to start talking about your family, use these very simple common patterns. У меня есть, у меня нет. У меня есть муж, у меня нет мужа. У меня двое детей, у меня нет детей. Моему сыну 12 лет, моей дочери 8 лет. You can fill in any number, whichever is relevant to you. Мои родители живут в Москве or in any other place in the world that is relevant to you. У меня большая или маленькая семья. I have a big or a small family, and etc. And with these structures, you can already say a lot about the people closest to you. If you've already watched my video, How to Introduce Yourself in Russian, try combining the two. Introduce yourself and then tell me about your family in the comments. A few sentences are enough. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next videos.